Hi, I'm Samhita.
My name is Maximilian Chavez.
My name is Carmelita Lee.
Our product for today is for children with autism because they find it extremely hard to identify their emotions and cope with stress.
We created the Beta Band, which is essentially a headband. It reads your beta waves, which fall in between a certain low and high beta wave. And if you're outside that range, then your brain is not acting as a normal brain.
Project Event has definitely impacted my sense of teamwork. I can collaborate a lot more with my peers, have that design thinking into mind. How can we target our users and have the best influence and the greatest impact on their lives?
Working and coding and doing all that stuff, it gave me a chance to be familiar so that I'm not as intimidated going into college. And it's actually made me a lot more excited for freshman year of college.
We've definitely opened our minds up a lot more, and we've learned how to cope with maybe our product not working and still learning from our mistakes.
Having interacted with people who are on the spectrum, young adults and little children, and seeing what they go through and understanding their experiences, and then being able to put that into a product, engineer something, and then see that truly affect them and help them.
A lot of people try and create products for people that they don't even they've never even talked to before. So we had a lot of things that we thought would be good, but after talking to people who actually use wheelchairs, they were we don't have problems with that. So it just you really should talk to people and get to know them before you make assumptions about things that they struggle with.
I think the impact has been huge, and it's changed my outlook towards education, for project-based learning and education, a lot actually. The reason is because prior to Project Event, I focused a lot on just developing technical skills and having the students learn laser cutting, 3D printing, soldering, sort of for the sake of learning 3D printing, laser cutting, and soldering. But working with Project Event and anchoring these technical skills to a real-world problem has really, I think, made the learning experiences more meaningful for the students so that they understand what the application is, and has helped with retention and student involvement. It's been really great.
None of these girls came into this project thinking that they were inventors or makers, or that this kind of thing was something they even wanted to do. All of them, I believe, have been radically transformed just by this idea that the world is invented, right, and designed, and that they can participate in designing that world, right? I watched them gain confidence interviewing people, really understanding and delving into design thinking and human-centered design. I watched them struggle through prototyping and then succeed and feel really empowered by that. We have 4 women here who are ready to take on the world and change the world with the invention that they're making, and this is not something that they would have even considered doing in September of this year.
It's been really amazing being able to turn a problem into a solution just through engineering. And so I think Project Event has taught me that anything that you see out in the world, if you think there's a way that you can fix it, it's totally doable, and that there are resources out there and people out there willing to support you throughout the journey.
This is bigger than just us.
Hello and welcome to Project Event's Demo Day X Pacific Coast 2022. We are so excited to have you here. My name is Sean Glantz, and I will be your MC for today. Today you'll be hearing pitches from teams of talented, innovative high school students from around the country who have created for social good. These students are incredible. Throughout this year, they have built inventions from the ground up with the goal of solving problems in society. These students are building the skills to save the world, and they're doing so with the incredible support and infrastructure of Project Invent, which empowers young people to innovate all year round, and today is connecting these impressive young people and the hard work they've done with deeply accomplished investors, executives, and visionaries in the tech industry. Before we get started, a little bit about me. I teach computer science at Vinci Charter Academy in Davis, California. This is my first year as a fellow with Project Invent, and I am proud to have 3 teams joining us here at Demo Day X this year. Before becoming an educator, I had a career with the Forest Service as a botanist, but have now found a role that I really enjoy, teaching computer science. I'm a tinkerer at heart and have always enjoyed building things poorly, breaking things frequently, and learning new skills along the way. My role today is simply to facilitate and keep things moving so you can hear from these amazing students and accomplished panelists. Before we meet our judges, just a little bit of logistics for today. This is a 2.5-hour event. Don't worry, you can grab snacks, take a break if you need to. When pitches begin, each team of students will present a 5-minute pitch video followed by 4 minutes of Q&A with our panelists. At the end of the event, judges will deliberate and choose 4 teams to award. Now, we do have 12 amazing teams this year, which is our largest Demo Day X of the year, which is fantastic. That means we are on a tight schedule, so we'll be moving things right along, and I won't belabor the intro. We may go a little bit over 6:30, so it may be more of a 6:45 time for wrapping this up. While students present, here are a few ways to interact with the team. Check out the features in Zoom, use reactions to cheer teams on, and the chat to share words of encouragement. Let's test out the chat now by wishing all of our teams and students good luck. Let's see that activity in the chat. All right. Fantastic, fantastic. And finally, as this is scrolling through, you will see shortly after all of our wonderful good luck wishes get populated in the chat, you will see a link to Project Invent Donate. Project Invent is a nonprofit organization, and the work that we do year round to help these students ideate and incubate inventions for social good, and events like Demo Day X connecting these students to industry professionals are all made possible by donors like yourself. Project Invent is able to train teachers, run today's event, and support teams because of the generosity of our community. So please do consider donating. Now, without further ado, let's meet our panelists. This event is sponsored by Sequoia Capital, whose mission is to seek out and help build the rare generational companies that push the world forward and make their mark over the course of decades. We are so thankful to them for helping our demo day making our demo day possible, and for providing the $2,000 of funding for the prizes awarded today. 4 teams will be awarded prizes, and not only are they donating capital, but they are donating their time, and we are so grateful for that. Our first panelist is Apari Natarajan, the Global Technology and Infrastructure Director at Sequoia Capital. Welcome, Pari. In a quick sentence, what are you most excited about seeing from our students today? Oh, and I'm sorry, Pari, you are muted.
There we go. First of all, I just wanted to say good luck to everyone. And I'm really excited about just hearing the diverse amount of technology and projects that they're going to show us today.
Fantastic. Thank you. Our second panelist is Jeremy McAnally, Senior Software Engineer, also at Sequoia Capital. Welcome, Jeremy. In a quick sentence, what are you most excited about seeing from our students today?
That video was really awesome. I was really excited to see more design thinking and thinking about how these products actually apply to people's lives. I'm excited to see that.
Fantastic. Excellent. And our keynote speaker is Mary Glide. She is VP of Technology at Sequoia Capital. Welcome, Mary. In a quick sentence, what are you most excited about seeing from our students today?
I am very excited to see the different projects and problems that people to help solve. So can't wait to look at all the presentations.
Wonderful. Now, thank you very much. Now that we have met our panelists, it's time for the main event. Each team will have 5 minutes to pitch, 4 minutes for a Q&A. A quick reminder to our amazing student teams before we begin. You've done hard work. You've identified problems to solve. You've designed and redesigned and redesigned. You've interviewed users. You've spent your dozens of hours coding and building circuit boards and so much more. Now is your time to celebrate the hard work, to show off what you've done, to advocate for your invention, to learn and grow with some of the best professionals in the industry. So take a breath, shake off those nerves, and have fun with it. All right, let's do it. Our first pitch is from Project Voice, the sound to vibration sensation.
Hi, we are Project Voice, a group of 9th graders that go to Girls Academic Leadership Academy, based in LA, here to present to you the SDS clip, or the Sound Detection System clip. Our team includes Aiden, Elsa, Asia, Diana, Elisa, Sarah, and Bianca. The problem: we now realize that the vast majority of deaf and hard of hearing people are subject to dangers that people with hearing could never consider to be impactful or relevant in their lives. The ability to hear is nature's alarm system. Without it, just venturing into the world becomes an everyday stressor. After Diana's grandfather became deaf, they had to watch how he changed the way he interacted with the world, and it was scary. This opened our eyes and helped us realize that we wanted to help create something that could help people that are deaf be aware of their everyday surroundings. Almost 1 in 1,000 babies are born deaf, and this number does not include the people that are deaf later in life. Our community partner is Megan Clancy. She is an actress that is deaf, and we want to make it easier for Megan to interact with our community and environment. Once we learned that Megan was our community partner, we felt inspired to use her knowledge about Deanna's grandpa to try and come up with a solution to help anyone deaf or hard of hearing. The solution: the SDS clip, or the sound detection system, is a portable device that can be clipped anywhere. It is made up of multiple mics that detect sound as well as the direction the sound is coming from and alerts you in the form of vibrations. The louder the sound is, the more intense the vibration is. This can help in all kinds of situations. For example, if you're in a car and someone honks at you, the SDS will keep you alert about the abnormally loud sound level. The SDS will keep you alert and informed about sound levels around you and how close or far away they are. With the SDS, you can also set baseline. So if you're at the beach, for example, your SDS won't be consistently vibrating due to the sound of the waves. This is how the SDS could look like and be worn. It could be on a belt, on a collar, anywhere that the clip can clip onto. Features. Our most important and helpful features include decibel detection, where you will get an idea of how loud or quiet the sound is, so you know whether something is happening. Vibration correspondence, which will alert you with different vibration strengths depending on the loudness of the sound, and directional display. And with this feature, you will know what direction the sound is coming from, so you can turn your attention there. Them versus us. Here you can see our top 2 competitors, the Untitled Chapter clip and the Neo Sensory Buzz wristwatch. Competitor analysis. With the SDS, you get features that the other products on the market do not have, including baseline settings, vibration response, vibration sensitivity, decibel detection, directional detection, and it can be worn anywhere. Other competitors only have a couple of these features at most, but none of them compare to the full extent of the SDS's convenience. Major requirements. We want to be able to hit the requirements of vibration, user experience, and directional display. It has to vibrate according to the sound emitted, more for louder sound and less for smaller sound. It has to be easy to use, no bulky cords, nothing heavy, and it has to be easy to carry. We want the SDS to also be able to display what direction the sound is coming from with arrows that light up. A better world. We hope to help the deaf and hard of hearing community feel more comfortable and safe next time they go outside wearing our product. We want them to be able to use it without any difficulty, and we hope this product has the potential to make a positive impact in somebody's life. Pricing. Our SDS costs $220, which is considerably less than the Neo Sensory Buzz wristwatch, which is $400, and only a little bit more than the Fujitsu hair clip at $200. Our next steps. We want to reach more people all around the world and help them feel safe in their community. We would also like the SDS to be compact and small so you can use it anywhere without drawing too much attention. We also hope to expand to more formats to make the SDS more accessible to the people, in the form of maybe a wristwatch or a necklace or anything like that. A quote from Megan: "This sounds like a really good idea, and it sounds like something I could use on a daily basis." Megan Clancy. Thank you so much for your time.
I will explain the works-like prototype. I am trying to get the sound sensor to detect sound and then report back to the light.
So whenever there's a sound, the light turns on.
This is the screen that will display the decibel meter and also what direction the sound is coming from. Once the sound is detected and reported back through vibration. We haven't figured out yet how to display anything on the screen, but we hope so we can soon. This is the vibration motor for the sound sensor,
where sound will be transmitted into vibration.
We're still trying to figure out how to get the screen to display the information we want and the sound sensor to work properly with the light.
Thank you so much for watching our video and considering our project.
to our judges for 4 minutes of Q&A.
Okay, I'll jump in here. Did you start out with the design that you have now in terms of like vibration plus directional display, or was there sort of like an iteration, or what was the process of landing on the feedback mechanisms you have?
Didi, one of our teammates, will answer the question. Can you please repeat the question?
Sure. Basically, how did you choose the feedback mechanisms you have? How did you choose to go with vibration and directional display?
Well, because you can't always be constantly looking at something, a flashing light or another form of like your senses wouldn't work. So vibration is easier to detect it when you're just simply walking around or doing something active. The directional display is more so you can see where the sound is coming from, because you don't have that specific pinpoint for the for where the
Nice. I'll ask a question. A couple of the features that you're working on are still under production and research. Can you tell me a little bit about what methodology you may use in terms of finding a solution? And feel free to pick any one of the features that are currently under research.
The question is that about a certain feature, right? Like one of the features, what is under production right now?
Several of your features are under research, and you're
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to make them work. Can you just tell me some steps or some of your methodology in terms of how you may get it working?
So we started off by finding similar things that are similar with the Arduino, but not exact. So then we were using those similar projects we found to implement into our own. And so there was like one where it was like when you clap, the sound sensor will detect it and then translate it into light. So we were just working with that into translating it into vibration instead. So right now we were just planning on to find a way, look more into research on how to do that and how to use that certain step into going on to the next step. And that's where we are right now through the vibration in the sound sensor. For the screen, we've been using this certain other project, for example, and it's been not working correctly, and we don't know exactly what the problem is yet, but the screen won't display what we want. So we just plan to like continue to try to figure out why it's not working. It might have to do something with the Arduino or the screen.
Okay. And are there any other resources? What type of resources are you using to help solve these problems?
It's Arduino CCC, I believe. It's a website where it's like different projects can be shown and like diagrams that can be used and also codes that can help. So we're just using those codes and diagrams to show what we can use them to make what we want for our project.
Okay, great.
Was there a feature or change or anything that you implemented that came directly from your community partner?
Aiden can answer this question.
I'm sorry to jump in and interrupt. We're just so tight on time. I want to say wonderful job, team voice. I do want to make sure that we are sticking to that 4 minutes. So thank you. Great job on that, answering questions and wonderful pitch video. Saw some fantastic comments in the chat. We are now going to share the pitch video from our second team. And actually, I understand that our team will be sharing this video, so I'm going to stop sharing my team momentarily. This is the Brainy Badgers.
Sorry, I'm getting the message that the host has disabled screen sharing.
All right, let's see if it works now for you, Nicole.
Okay. There we go. Give me just a minute.
Nicole, is the sound playing on your end? Just to check. Nicole, can you hear us?
Sorry, technical difficulties. Were you not hearing the sound?
No. Nicole, is it okay if we go ahead and move on to the next team, and maybe we'll come back to you guys at the end, and that way if you could just test it out in the meantime, that way you'll have any of the sound and stuff like that ready to go. Is that all right?
Okay, yep.
Thank you.
Next up, can you hear me all right? And next up is Team Amphibious Inc. with the frog light illuminating the future.
Hi, I'm Jamie. And my name is Ludi, and we're here to tell you about Frog Light, or the fatigue-reducing reading optical gadget light. We are Amphibious Inc., a team of mostly high school seniors from Davis, California. When deciding what to work on for Project Invent, we thought about what the people in our team care about. And one thing we all like is books.
We've been working with the Davis branch of the Yolo County Library, specifically with Miss Katrina Laws Ewald, a youth services librarian there, to address problems that patrons there might run into that we can solve.
After discussing library issues with our community partner, we discovered a recurring theme surrounding problems with vision and reading. Small, low-contrast text both causes eye strain and makes reading more difficult, especially for those with visual impairments.
A visually impaired library patron we talked to told us that one of the most important things for me is having good light. We wanted to address this problem affecting visually impaired people, especially older people losing their eyesight over time. But as we developed our ideas, we realized that one standout idea of ours could help a broader audience.
A book light. While most book lights aim to allow reading in the dark, ours would improve the ease of reading in both light and dark environments. Our light uses sensors to automatically adjust light color and brightness based on the surrounding environment, improving page contrast and allowing for maximized visual ease wherever the user is reading.
We went through many design ideas for the frog light before we got to this final design. What mattered most to us in the end was whether the light could adequately light the book and other functionalities.
We went back and forth with our community partner, Katrina, about our product and design ideas and got lots of valuable feedback. When we got to the idea about making a reading light, she recalled a poor experience she had with the reading light in the past, saying, "The light was giving me a headache. I wish there was a better reading light."
We were curious what makes good light and what would work best to help make reading easier visually, so we asked Katrina what kind of lights the library uses. She stated that the library uses white fluorescent lights with hints of red or blue tint in the light. With all this research gathered and a problem identified, we moved on to designing a prototype.
Our prototype has a color sensor to detect the color of the page surface and/or surrounding light. It returns 3 numbers representing the value of red, green, and blue that it detects. It also includes a potentiometer that users can adjust, directly controlling the amount of electricity the LED receives.
Based on the color values from the color sensor, the RGB LED changes the color of its light output. The potentiometer controls the intensity of the LED's brightness. After many days of trial and error working with and programming our Arduino, we made a prototype testing basic functions of the light, which we will show a demo of now.
We tested our prototype using colored paper. Right now, as you can see, the LED changes color to match what color the sensor is looking at, and the potentiometer controls the LED's intensity.
Our market research determined that there is not a light on the market that can effectively improve reading ability in both the light and the dark.
In the future, we would like to recruit visually impaired readers to test out our device in different lighting conditions to see which colors and intensities work best in which environments. We would also like to test our light on many different page colors, such as multicolored children's picture books. We would like to see if our device can make reading easier and if it reduces symptoms like eye strain and headaches.
To continue developing our light, we will conduct testing like we described in the last slide, like Ludi described. Based on this feedback, we will change how our light decides which colors to output. We also plan to make the light adjust its intensity automatically based on surrounding light as well as inputs from the user. We also want to make the light brighter and more diffused for better illumination and to refine our prototype into a more polished model.
On behalf of Amphibious Inc., thank you for watching our presentation.
Okay. You all mentioned that you went through a lot of design iterations. I'm curious to hear if there was one that maybe you were really excited about and then you realized wasn't going to work, or you tried to make one work and it just failed. I'm curious to hear if there were anything like that.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think Clara could answer that really well.
Yeah, so one of the design ideas that at least I was really excited about was we were going to have a sheet of glass that was part of our design, and so that would act as a magnifier for the page, and then that would help diffuse the light evenly across the book surface. So basically the user would hold the glass over their book and like use it and then run it down the page and then, flip. But we pretty quickly realized that this wasn't super adaptable to different sizes of books, because if the glass was too big, then that would prove to be a problem. And if it was too small, that would mean constantly readjusting it and moving it around. So we decided to move on to something that was more adaptable to different sizes of books and different sizes of text.
Very cool.
I'm curious to know how many people you spoke with in terms of trying to understand the impact that your product may help if successful.
Yeah, thank you. Great question. I think Jamie could answer that question.
Yeah, so we talked with our community partner a lot about different problems that different library patrons face. We also talked with a library patron who is visually impaired, and they gave us some good feedback about the sort of things that help them read. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Was there a specific feature design adjustment that came out of some of these conversations with users? I'm curious if you found that they all had the same problem, or if there's a diversity of problems that you could solve.
Yeah, thank you. I think Ethan could answer that. He worked on a lot of the physical stuff.
I think after communicating with our partner, we found that using something that would help contrast the light would benefit for our design, instead of necessarily magnifying the book or picture book what you're reading. We would use light to make it contrast a lot better, so that would make it a lot easier to read. Thank you for the question.
Awesome, that's great.
Along the lines of contrast, in your research, is there an optimal value for contrast?
Thank you. I think I'll let Ethan answer that question also.
Yeah, so that's one of the problems we were facing as we're going through our design. Up to this point, we've made it so that our Arduino can input a light value and then output a different light value that really, at this point, we're figuring out how to maximize the effectiveness of that. So we don't have an exact value for that, but I think that would be one of the next steps we could take in the future. Thank you for the question.
Okay, great.
Can you talk a little bit about the differentiation between your approach and maybe some other lights that are out there on the market, and how your product solves the problem a little bit better?
Yeah, good question. I think Ludi could answer that well.
Yeah, so first of all, we really focused on making our light able to automatically adjust, whereas a lot of book lights on the market, if they do have automatic adjustment, it's very limited. And our light has a wide range of color options and brightness options, whereas a lot of other lights just kind of have like white light or like yellowish light that you can choose between, whereas ours could really focus on getting the exact correct color and brightness combination to make reading the most easy.
Let's see, just curious.
Fantastic. Oh, I'm sorry to jump in again. The time is so short, but thank you so much and wonderful job, Amphibious Inc. Thank you, panelists, for some great questions. We are now going to move right along to our next presentation, which is Team Vortex Industries, a portable and self-loading dish cleaning system for large food service operations to eliminate single-use dishware.
Our product is Mobile Wash by Vortex Industries.
St. Ignatius contributes the most waste in the cafeteria. The single-use items that come with cafeteria food are a major part of the trash at St. Ignatius. We are trying to solve this issue of trash, and we are attempting to reduce how many single-use items our school uses. Plastic isn't renewable and will eventually run out.
Another problem we have is the energy, water, and material costs. It also takes a lot of energy and water to make the plastic plates and cups that we use in our cafeterias.
Okay, so our community partner, Mr. Christopher Meehan, the Director of Buildings and Grounds, feels this sense of responsibility about the trash our school produces. Our school has 1,500 students and 200 faculty and staff. Mr. Meehan explained that many students don't come from San Francisco, and so they don't know our recycling and composting system.
We realized that the solution would need to be accessible in many locations around the school, user-friendly, require little additional labor, easily accessible to the kitchen staff within hours of each meal so that dishes can be reused, and efficiently deal with the storage of dishware supplies. Not much extra space on
Okay, so as you guys can see, this is our dish rack that we're gonna be transporting throughout the school, and it has multiple layers where we can put a lot of dishes, which is nice. So we don't have to have a lot of these on campus. Like one can hold a lot of dishes, and so as you can see, this is our prototype on the side, and yeah.
This feature will sort the glassware by height to separate the drinking containers from the rest. The dishes move through the conveyor belt like normal until they reach the device. While the dishes move through the conveyor belt, they will be separated by height, starting with cups and water bottles. The device will only let the dishes shorter than the cups and water bottles through, so utensils, bowls, plates, etc. This will separate the tall drink containers, and they will be funneled from the other dishes and put into the dish trays. The shorter dishes will go under the device, separating from the taller drink containers, moving through and still on the
Product kind of feature is this conveyor belt. So after we're done, after the machine, the car washing hut is done with cleaning, this conveyor tilts, so it's much easier for the plates to dry, air dry and that just saves energy because we don't have to, and money because we don't have to spend money on a dryer to dry all these plates, and it's just much more efficient. Okay, so this is kind of the view of before and after. As you can see on the right, it is the cart that goes through the car wash cleaning hut, car wash light cleaning hut. And as you can see on the left is what happens after, how the sorting conveyors are kind of tilted. So as I said before, the plates can dry, and that's how our kind of mechanism works to go through the hut.
The first picture is of the bowls and the utensils that get pushed forward by the conveyor belt. This second picture shows that the bowls get sorted out because they're too tall and get pushed to the left of the flipper. This third image is when the bowls line up and the flippers are full, and the flipper flips these bowls to lay perfectly on the cart. And finally, this last image is of a detailed view on how the bowls and the utensils are sorted by height. In the first picture, the bowls and utensils are pushed forward by the conveyor. In the second picture, since the bowls are too tall, they get pushed to the left onto the flipper. In the third picture, once the bowls line up and are full, the flipper flips, causing the bowls to lay perfectly on the cart. This shows how the bowls and utensils get sorted by height and are separated. Thank you.
I'm curious if you all looked at some other systems that maybe do something similar, or if you're even aware that another system might be doing something similar, and what you might have learned from those.
Yeah, so the main difference with our system that sets us apart from the others is the collection system that allows us to bring multiple dishes from across a large area to this one place where they can be washed, right? So it's sort of like the mobileness of it, as is in our name, mobile wash. With other dishwasher systems that like maybe say a restaurant dishwasher, which we've looked into, that's just one giant thing, right? But you're in a restaurant, so you've got like waiters bringing dishes to one location, and on a place like a school campus, for example, that's not feasible. You don't have waiters going around picking up students' dishes when they're done, right? So we have this system so that students can bring their dishes to multiple places. You only need one dishwasher system. So you don't need like 10 dishwashers across the whole place. You only need one dishwasher system. And you have multiple carts that can be placed all across your campus where students can load these dishes.
Awesome.
Got it. So the pivotal competitive advantage of your system is essentially the mass collection of these dishes.
Right. It's sort of tackling a different problem than other mass, I guess, dishwashers would tackle.
Got it. How do you handle students improperly loading the racks?
So the way our dishwasher handles that in the conveyor system, as we showed earlier, there's the sorters and stuff. So in the event of it being placed, well, basically, these items don't need to be placed any specific way. It can be on its side, it can be straight up, and the different bumpers and stuff will orient it properly so that they can all be sorted the same. Now, there are issues with if there's something like stuck to it, example, that's for the dishwasher to take care of itself. So that would just get removed in the dishwasher.
Got it. And if a plate's upside down?
If the plate's upside down, there's like flippers and like bumps and stuff that will get them oriented in the same way so that when they get sorted, they're all facing the exact same way.
Got it.
Can you tell me a little bit about the process that went into developing the various bumpers and stuff? Was there, physical research where you're throwing plates at it and seeing if it works, or like how did you think through those problems?
Yeah, well, when you take that.
So like we tested different like shapes and pretty much like figured out a design that would work the best, and we used it so like there's like a thing that the conveyor will run, and then there's like a metal plate that will essentially like push when the bowls get pushed against it, it'll like move to the side. And since it's at like a certain height, like certain like let's say cups, maybe they might be too short, so they'll go under it and keep going, but like the bowls might be too tall, so it just move to the side.
Great. Yeah, I think the height classification is actually a super smart approach to that. That's a simple solve for what could be super complex.
Yeah, I like it too. What's one important thing that you learned from this project?
I think something we learned from this project is how to overcome adversity, because throughout the whole like building process and the prototyping process, we had a lot of it was a lot of struggles of trying to find one of the hardest parts was how to get these plates in the right position, and like a question you stated before, how if they're in the wrong position, will they get in the correct position? So I think as a team, everyone really grew and we learned how to work together and solve these issues as a whole.
Great. Good job.
Thank you.
Great job, Team Vortex. got to jump right in again. Thank you, judges, again for some fantastic questions. Wonderful job. Let's hear it in the chat. And with that, I will also introduce our next team, Team LED. The ringer is a buzz away from helping you never miss an alarm again.
We are Team LED. Our team members are Sage, Chloe, Piper, Edith, Belle, Sachi, Sky, and Faith. We are freshmen at the Girls Academic Leadership Academy and are from Los Angeles. We are very excited to share this project with you and our journey. Our product is The Ringer. Our community partner is Megan Clancy. Megan's dream is to be a full-time actress. She is talented, hardworking, and puts everything into her dream. However, because she is deaf, she will miss alarms and notifications, making her miss auditions and call times. This has made it hard for her to secure roles because she isn't always on time. This has held her back from achieving her dream. She told us in an interview that I need to show people that I can do anything. We researched more about employment in the deaf community and discovered that this difficulty wasn't a problem that just Megan faced. We discovered that a big percentage of deaf or hard of hearing individuals are either unemployed or not in the labor force compared to hearing people. While there are many different reasons for the differences of employment between deaf or hard of hearing people and people who can hear, Megan helped us focus on just one. This was the issue of not being able to hear alarms, timers, and other notifications. So we came up with our product, The Ringer. We hope that our product will allow Megan to focus on just her acting and landing roles, rather than how she's going to make it to an audition or call time. We hope our product will also help other people in the deaf and hard of hearing community and begin to close the employment gap between hearing and hard of hearing or deaf individuals. So, our product, The Ringer, has a few features. One, it is a ring that utilizes Bluetooth technology, allowing the user to connect the ring with their mobile device. When an alarm or timer goes off, or the user receives texts, phone calls, reminders, etc., the ring will vibrate, alerting them. We totaled the cost of the materials and then the overhead price and determined how much we should mark up the price, and ultimately decided that our project should be $78. We compared the price and size of our product to others of similar function. Because our device is a ring as opposed to a watch, like other similar products on the market, our device is the smallest option. In addition, it is the least expensive option out of other popular contenders. Shown here is our looks like prototype. This model is our goal for how we want our final product to look. We plan for it to be a simple and sleek design. This past year, Megan has helped our team understand the significance of something seemingly unimportant and small in our lives. Every day, most people use alarms to wake them up, timers to keep them on task, and reminders so they know where they have to be and what they have to be doing at any given time. We receive time-sensitive texts, phone calls, and emails. All these things are part of our everyday lives, and whether we realize it or not, hold incredible importance. For deaf or hard of hearing people like Megan, they can't hear these things, which creates a ripple effect in their lives. It may start with them missing their alarm, simply waking up at 8 instead of 7, but may end in their employer firing them for being late to work too much. For Megan specifically, her not being able to hear alarms or notifications means she is often missing auditions, holding her back from being a full-time actress. We believe that our product, The Ringer, will offer a simple and affordable solution to this problem. We believe that The Ringer will not only help Megan, but help other people in the deaf and hard of hearing community. In our interview with Megan, she said, "I have to be a problem solver, help them not have that negative stigma." The stigma around the deaf and hard of hearing community has many layers, and we realize our product won't completely get rid of those layers. However, we believe in solving Megan's problem. We will be taking an important step, even if it is small, in that direction. That is our project. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you. This is a digital model of our project. As you already saw in our Workslake prototype, while we figured out how to make the technology vibrate, we still haven't worked out how to connect it Bluetooth to a mobile device. So our next step is going to be to integrate Bluetooth into our technology. And then after that, we are going to put our technology into a 3D printed ring case, and then we will have our final product. Thank you!
All right, can you tell me a little bit about how you landed on the ring as the form factor versus like the headband or something? I don't know what else, but how did you land on the ring?
Yeah, Sachi, do you want to answer that question?
We landed on the ring because it's like a smaller and sleeker design, and we noticed that all other products that had similar features or functions on the market was in the form of like a watch or something else, and we thought the ring would be more efficient because it was smaller. Yeah.
Do you have any type of numbers or metrics in terms of how significant the vibration needs to be in order to wake someone up from sleep?
I don't think so. Sage or Sky, maybe you guys can elaborate.
We do not have that information currently, but we were planning on making it, I believe, around 3 to 5 volts. But we should definitely research to see.
Okay.
Very cool. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the feedback that your community partner gave you and maybe how you incorporate that to your final design?
Yeah, Sachi can answer that question.
Our community partner told us that she really liked this idea, and she said it'd be really helpful in her day-to-day life and be something that she'd use a lot. Yeah.
Nice. And then your competitive advantage from other competitors is it cost primarily, or is there anything other than cost?
Piper can answer that question.
Yeah, it's cost, it's also size, and it's also different and novel compared to watches, but overall it's cheaper and smaller.
Got it. Yeah, that's nice. Probably better looking.
Can you tell me a little bit about some of the research that you did in terms of what the best maybe like electronics were to use on this, or sort of like what the technical research that went behind this was?
I think Sky and Sage and Sachi did a lot of the research that went into buying products. So if you guys want to answer.
I think when you're starting this project, we definitely didn't know a lot about like where to get the technology and stuff. But what we kind of ended up doing is we were just looking for the stuff on like, we were looking at what other projects that was similar to ours, like what technology they use in theirs, and then you'd see if that would work for ours. And yeah, that's kind of, I don't know if Sky wants to add anything, but.
Yeah, we referenced a lot of different projects, including there's like a watch that vibrates according to, or not vibrates, it lights up according to the notification. So like we incorporated a lot of the materials they use for that. And also we just looked for like the smallest Arduino board or Arduino compatible board we could find. And from there, we tried to find other tools that would be compatible with that.
How do you charge it, by the way?
Sky or Sage. I'm not sure if Sage is available, but Sky, do you want to answer?
So it doesn't, the way we have it right now, it doesn't charge, but we've been using a battery. I believe it's a lithium ion polymer battery, or I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. And that's like also one of our problems right now, is that we don't have like a very long battery life with it, but the like plan is to be able to charge it when you're not using it.
Got it. Great. Good work.
Right. Fantastic job. Team LED, let's give it up for them in the chat. And we will move on to our next video, which is Team Care with the Care Band, calming anxiety regulation for everyone.
Hi, we are Team Care. CARE stands for Calming Anxiety Regulation for Everyone. Our group consists of Ariana, Nikhil, Anika, Arya, Stephanie, Arnav, Jacob, and Sanjay.
Our community partner is Miss Sandoval. She is Santa Clara High School's wellness coordinator. Her main job is to console students one-on-one to help relieve their stress and calm them down from high-pressure situations. She also helps students receive more help if it's needed by connecting them to therapists inside and outside the school district.
Our community partner, Ms. Sandoval, said, using the 5 senses is a way to get out of your head and back into your body. It helps integrate the brain and the body. Across the country, there are about 2.4 million Americans who experience panic attacks. Panic attacks increase heart rate, affects one's breathing pattern, and causes adrenaline to rush to the bloodstream. Panic attacks are caused by long periods of stress. Our solution is to create a wristband that grounds the user by shocking their nervous system. We chose to use one's sight and touch sense as sight leaves the system first and touch is used to ground one during a panic attack. Our device is targeted toward high school students, so we would like our device to be discreet for them to use during class.
These are our 3 designs. Our first design was a band around the stomach to fit bulky circuitry. We eliminated the idea as it would be uncomfortable to wear and the LED lights wouldn't be seen by the user. Our second design was a band around the leg, and it was eliminated for the same reasons. Our final design was a watch. This way we could keep the LED lights, make it comfortable and discreet to wear with enough space for our circuitry. Our product features an Arduino Nano, a pulse sensor to detect panic attacks, LED lights and vibration motors to create bilateral stimulation in the brain, which calms the user down during a panic attack, and an app to contact help, journal and track progress, and provide the user with extra resources.
So this is our marketing side. We use the Arduino Nano, the vibration motor, the pulse sensor, the mini breadboard, the LiPo battery, the LEDs and wires to make our circuit. The acrylic was used to make the box, the paracord and Velcro were both used to make our watch band. This all came together to be around $90.80. So this is how it works. Once the watch is put on by the user, their heart rate will be constantly detected and will be communicated with the Arduino. Once the heart rate is over 110 beats per minute, the LEDs and vibration motor will turn on to soothe the user. It will also send a message to the guardian that they have inputted into the app. They will also have the option to record their thoughts and feelings in a private journal after the panic attack is over.
This is our demo.
These are the care bands. This first band you see contains the LED lights and the heart rate sensor. The second band goes on the other hand, and it contains the vibration motors. The vibration motors are located on the bottom of the watch where they vibrate against the skin. These are how both bands look when they are in action.
To test our device, we will be contacting our community partner, Ms. Sandoval, so she can distribute our device to our patients with panic attacks. To gain feedback, we have created an anonymous survey for the patients to fill out.
So this is what our community partner said about our product. Most devices have to be activated by the user for reverse testing, which I find really unique. I think your product could be really successful. So this is our community review. Our target audience the whole time were teens with panic attacks. The impact of our product will lower the number of panic attacks at schools and will soothe individuals quickly and silently without distracting the professional flow of school. So this is our competitor matrix. We compared the Care Watch to the Fitbit, the Alpha Watch, and the Therapy Watch on 5 different parameters: lights, vibration, having an app, being compact, and being customizable. The Care Watch satisfies 4 out of 5 of these things, while the other competitors only satisfy 3 or 2 of them.
Our major roadblocks were senses, sizing, and modes. Our original goal was to target all 5 senses, but the circuitry was too big. We also needed to differentiate between exercising and a panic attack. We decided to use the 2 senses, sight and touch, as they best fit our criteria. To avoid the watch turning on while exercising, the user can turn it off.
Our next steps in the future would be to size down the watch, as it should not be distracting. We want it to be portable and comfortable to the user. For our app, it will track down the amount of panic attacks the user has in a certain time period. We will ask for feedback to improve user experience and market our product to reach larger audiences.
Great. I just had a curiosity about the design. I noticed there were 2 bands. Was that just like a technical limitation, or is that a design choice that you all made for a specific reason?
I'll pass that question to Anika.
So we chose to create 2 bands in order to activate bilateral stimulation in the brain. So by having vibration motors on one hand and LED lights on the other, it activates both sides of the brain, causing them to work together. And that allows the user to focus, which will in turn help them calm down from a panic attack.
Very cool. Okay, great.
Yeah, great idea, guys. Tell me a little bit about your research on the bilateral communication to offset the panic attack. Where did you guys start there? How did you guys get those leads?
I'll pass that question to Ariana.
Hi, can you repeat that question?
I said, tell me a little bit about your research on the bilateral sensory input to offset the panic attacks.
We've talked to our community partner and we've done some online research on the bilateral stimulation. By using the bilateral stimulation, it allows our device to be more efficient to the user and have when tracking the panic attack and when tracking the panic attack, it makes it more efficient.
Got it. Thank you.
I found the competitor matrix really interesting. Can you tell me a little bit more about the market research that you all did and how you executed that?
I'll pass that question to Stephanie.
So we researched different therapy watches currently on the market, and we realized that while some would just have either vibration or just LED lights or like an app, we realized that none of them combined them all together. So we decided to create something with all the input.
Awesome.
And how does the unit determine when there's a panic attack?
I'll pass that question to Sanjay.
Yeah, so our watch pretty much uses a heartbeat sensor, and depending on a certain heartbeat, it should detect a panic attack and then display the LEDs and the vibration.
Okay. So the assumption there is if an increased heartbeat is a panic attack. Tell me a little bit about that thought process there.
I'll pass that question to Anika.
So we were looking into symptoms of a panic attack, and the most commonly detected one is heart rate. However, an increased heart rate. However, if you're exercising, the symptoms are also very similar. So our current solution to that is just the user turning it off when they're exercising, but we are looking into a more efficient solution for that. And currently, we're just using an increased heart rate of around 110 beats per minute because that is the average heart rate for someone going through a panic attack.
Okay, great.
Fantastic.
Great. Oh, sorry. I
Go ahead.
apologize to jump in as I continue to do. Really great job from our team, Team Care. Let's give it up in the chat for them. And we will be advancing right along to Spurgle. Spurgle is a stuffed animal that enables simple communication between 2 users.
Hello! We are Team Spurgle, and this is our product pitch. Our team consists of 2 members, August Peterson and Lily McCauley, with our mentor, Jack Perrin. Our community partner is Angela, and her mom, Angelina. Angela is a 9-year-old girl challenged by quadriplegia and cerebral palsy. Angela's mom has expressed great communication barriers between her and Angela, so we decided to act on it. During their everyday life, Angela's mom could be working, doing house tasks, driving, and many more when Angela needs her but can't show it. This concern stuck with us as we brainstormed for Spurgle. Currently, Angela has some barriers surrounding stimulation, as she needs the right kind of stimulation to calm down, communication, as she's nonverbal, comfort, as finding a comfortable position or comforting toy is hard for her, and engagement, as her disability creates a sense of isolation, often creating boredom. With Spurgle, we address all of these. After talking with Angela's mom, we learned what to keep in mind when creating a product. Here's a quote from her. In general, she really likes stuffed animals and sensory toys. I'd like to know that she's okay, and I'd like her to be entertained and distracted. Any one or a combination of those would be awesome. This is Spurgle, a simple plushie with a vibrating motor. How Spurgle works is that when one plushie is squeezed, a vibration is sent to that plushie and to the guardian's phone. Ultimately, Spurgle will have the option of being used between two plushies. Spurgle will address all of Angela's needs, including stimulation, communication, comfort, and entertainment. Here's our product demo.
Meet Squiggle, the revolutionary of stuffed animals. Watch as Squiggle is squeezed, vibrates, and relaxes the user. What's happening? Let's take a look. Inside the comforting design is a small battery pack controlling an even smaller microcomputer, which allows the sensor to control the output of comforting vibrations. This alone is amazing, but what we didn't tell you yet is it's connected to a phone, allowing simple communication and reassurance to the opposing user. This is the first user's mom, who from across the house receives the same vibration created by her nonverbal daughter, and as she checks her phone, she knows she's okay.
But of course, with a device this deceivingly simple, we have to display a bit more of the complicated side to explain how it really works. We'll start with inputs. When the first device, Angela's, our client's, is squeezed, a pressure and flex sensor is activated, triggering the circuit involving a vibration motor and currently a microbit. The second device, Angelina's, our client's mom, receives a signal via a Bluetooth connection through its own microbit. However, it should be noted that we will soon be departing from microbits and Bluetooth in order to increase the distance compatibility. Following that with outputs, when the first device is squeezed, it broadcasts a Bluetooth signal, triggering both devices to vibrate simultaneously. But with all this complexity, we're challenged to filter it simply and through the eyes of the client, which is where user testing comes in. And of course, as with all vitally important aspects of a product, things are bound to go wrong. Upon arrival, several of our prototypes malfunctioned, having issues with sensors and circuitry. However, we still managed to gather enough information with the minimal materials still available, turning a bad situation into a beneficial one. These teachings ended up leading to plenty of pivots and realizations, which we've displayed our clients affirmative to by utilizing quotes from her mom during the session. First, we noticed that our prototype wasn't sensitive enough. It wasn't picking up enough of her pressure on the plush. We also noticed that we needed to secure our circuitry to the plush's interior better. Despite all this, though, we remained confident and were even boosted in our confidence that our product had real potential. Both our client and her mom seemed to agree with and enjoy the prototype's features and overall concept. But back to you. How will we sell your product? Here's Lily with that.
This is how our pricing per Spurgle is divided up, with our total being $30. Our next steps for distribution are crucial. We would start by creating a Spurgle website, then sell to more mainstream online markets, then reach out to schools, physical therapy units, and special education programs. Next, we reach out to websites and stores specializing in disability, and finally distribute to popular stores such as Walmart and Target. And with clientele, Spurgle has a massive client reach, from the autism community to friends and many more as seen on screen. Here's back to August.
Even after all of that, with a product as great as ours, you will of course have competitors. We researched the market to make sure we are truly providing to the community. First on the docket is CloudPet. It's a stuffed animal with a communication aspect similar to ours, but it's complicated and not disability friendly and suffers from a huge security concern. There is also a touch bracelet set on the market, which is equally limiting and inaccessible. We break it down against the market simply. We are the cheapest, securest, and most user-friendly product on the market. So we have a good idea. What's next? Well, as always, our client is. We want to ensure that we have a prototype she loves, but we'll eventually be transferring to a more advanced software so our clients can be miles apart and still connected. Using this, we'll create an aesthetic and sellable product in hopes of reaching as many people as we possibly can. Using that, we'll focus on a wider range of clients to adapt versions of our product, because while we certainly care about our client, we also care about you. Thank you.
Fantastic. It was a great pitch. Can you tell me a little bit about maybe some of the independent research that went into understanding the needs of a nonverbal communication between the parent and daughter?
Yeah, I think August has a really good answer for this one.
Yeah, so we looked into a lot of different things that were occurring between her mom and her, and we noticed a lot that Angela, the client, was having trouble letting her mom know when she needed her and stuff like that. And so we decided that the best route would probably be a communication aspect, just to make things as simple as it possibly could, because that seemed to be the barrier between her and most of the other problems. It was kind of the baseline.
Great job on your presentation. How does the unit get activated when you squeeze? what's the electronic mechanism
Yeah.
behind that?
So inside we have a flex sensor that is, it's like, it looks like a just little pad, and then when it's squeezed, it sends a vibration to a microbit, which connects to another microbit and sends the vibration.
Got it. And is that a on or off function, or is there a is it scalable in terms of how hard you press or whatnot?
Yeah, August, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. The one that we're currently using right now is just a simple demo version of a sensor that is just a 0 and 1 thing, but we have tested it with other sensors that were just a little bit too complicated for us right now, but we will eventually be moving to. That is a 1 to 100 scale that will be able to output different levels of variability of vibration.
Got it. Great.
So when you send the, if this is implemented and you have it going, that's fine. But I'm curious how you communicated with the mother's phone. Is that directly through Bluetooth, or are you using some other mechanism to do that as well?
Yeah, this is something we've really thought about. August, do you want to talk on
it? Sure. Currently, it's in a box that's connected to the back of the phone. It just looks like a little credit card that you can just put right here. But we are moving towards an app that will vibrate the actual phone itself, that will just be connected through Bluetooth and eventually through cellular or Wi-Fi.
Very cool.
And then in terms of, it seems like you have a prototype product that's actually in use. What are some ways that maybe you can reduce the cost so that you're more competitive with the second competitor? I think is kind of close to your range. What are some ways where you can have some cost savings or reduce the cost?
Yeah, definitely. I think buying in bulk especially could be really helpful for us. And even if we just brought in community members that could help us create these and like work together, volunteers, just everyone coming in and working together and learning how to really get down our rhythm and get it well could be good. Thank you.
Got it. I did have one other question, and that was, how do you secure the actual circuitry to the stuffing? Is there, what's inside?
Yeah, August knows this one. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a it kind of looks like a foam box. We only didn't include it because we were running out of time, but it's kind of like a memory foam box that in the inside it's a little bit harder, so the circuitry is like, you know, glued to the inside of it, so it stays separate. But from the outside, you can squeeze it and it feels just like you're squeezing a stuffed animal. So we put that inside and it just fits right in. It melds in with the stuffing. You don't even feel the box inside of it.
Great, that's good thought planning. Great, thank you.
Right, I'm going to jump back in. Fantastic job, Team School. Let's let them hear it in the chat. That was fantastic. That was great. And next up, we will be sharing Project Pick Me Up, picking up your picks and problems.
Our community partner Craig is afflicted with primary progressive multiple sclerosis. MS causes damage to nerve fibers, which can result in paralyzation, numbness, poor coordination, and deficient eyesight. From doing a simple chore to pursuing a lifetime hobby, these are some problems Craig may face in his everyday life.
Multiple sclerosis is an illness where an individual's immune system eats away at the coverings of the nerves. It has various symptoms, and one that Craig faces is a lack of fine motor skills in his right arm as well as both of his legs. This caused him to be unable to pursue his hobbies and passions, such as playing the guitar.
Before we came up with our solution for Craig, we had to learn a bit more about him and ways we could possibly help out. While interviewing him, we learned that Craig has a deep passion for playing guitar and performing. He went on to state that he even built himself his own pick holder that he takes much pride in. This got us thinking that we should implement his idea into our solution. So we decided to make a glove for his thumb and pointer finger that comes together with electromagnets with the help of a battery. This allows him to have a stronger grip of the pick without requiring any motor skills. We designed a two-finger glove, which enables Craig to grasp onto smaller items relying on little strength. It utilizes an electromagnet and a washer to grip onto small and thin items such as a guitar pick. Additionally, we just 3D printed a container for the battery, the button, and other smaller components.
on with renovations after our initial user testing. As we continued to develop our design, this is what we came up with. In hopes of increasing user comfort, we decided to go with the two-finger glove instead of the full hand glove that we had originally designed. The battery box is adhered to the glove over the dorsal side of the user's hand. The key part of this design is the electromagnet, which significantly increases the strength at which the pick is held at.
We did some research on other designs currently on the market that were similar to ours in concept and idea. One such product was Pixlinger, which had a similar concept to ours, but the design itself was a bit different. So unlike Pixlinger, our design was easy to take off, put on, and hold, and had certain specifications to suit our users' needs. These specifications are what truly sets us apart from the rest of the crop. Adding on, our electromagnetic-based design is what really improves on our grip strength and the overall strength of our design.
In the future, to improve upon our prototype, we could use a new type of glove for increased comfort and a better fit, a smaller electromagnet that we could possibly make on our own, and hide wires and decrease the size of the battery pack for increased comfort and less bulk at the wrist.
Great. Having several friends have MS, that's pretty cool to see some work on that. I'm curious if you had any other use cases in mind other than playing guitar, right? Any other instruments or anything else you think that this could be useful for?
Sam can answer this question.
So, I mean, when we started building it, it was focused on guitar because it was a hobby of our partner. But, like, based on its design, we could use just having a stronger magnet would enable us to, like, clamp onto more than just a guitar pick. So, I mean, if we were to keep working on this in the future, we would probably make it more into a glove that helps with, like, the motion of clamping down onto something, more over something that's just there to help, like, play the guitar and hold the pick.
So I'd like to add on, with the use of like a soft magnet, you can attach it to other smaller items, like a paintbrush, for example, and electromagnet would be able to attach that as well.
Very cool. I'm curious what sort of research you did into MS and maybe what you learned about the disease and building this product.
Ashika can answer this question.
So we did a lot of research about how MS works and how it affects Craig. So some of the research was about how it damages nerve fibers within Craig. So a lot of his dexterity, especially with his hands, is very limited because of the disease. So learning from our research about MS, we just wanted to implement and focus mostly on the dexterity.
And how much force does this device allow the user to grip the pick with, for instance? Does it fall out? Is it pretty solid? How do you measure that? Just tell me a little bit about that thought process.
Aryan can answer this question.
So the electromagnet we're using has like a gripping force of 37 newtons, which is quite strong. And in one test we showed in the video, that box was full of like around 9-volt batteries, which is quite heavy, and it was able to lift that up with ease.
Great. So your community partner is able to successfully use this now to play guitar?
Craig can answer this question.
I can answer. So we like a couple of weeks ago, we sent it over to Craig, and he did like review it. He sent us a lot of his feedback, and which was really helpful. So what he told us was some of our like positioning was off, which is something we have to fix. So it was kind of pushed out onto his finger. So and like as we continue editing our glove, we would probably push it down more. But like in that video, you saw me playing guitar, and like I played guitar for like quite some time, I would say. Anyways, I was like successfully able to play guitar with it. So I think mainly we want to make sure we can adjust the glove to fit Craig's needs more. So yeah.
Got it. Great.
Do we have time for one more question, or are we?
Yep, time for just one more.
Okay, so I'm curious if you tried this with any other stringed instruments, with powerful enough to like, work with a bass, or anything else you may have tried.
Sam can answer this question.
As of right now, no, we weren't able to try with anything else. But like I play guitar, like you saw in the video, I play guitar with it, and then we also the video after that showed us picking up a box, and that box had we put a couple like good amount of weight in the box, so just it was able to hold up quite a lot of weight from our testing.
To add on, as Arian was saying before, if we wanted to make this more suited for other instruments, so other instruments that utilize a pick, I think that first we need to just improve on our electromagnet and just that circuit to make sure it's strong enough to handle a different type of string and picking and strumming on it. So if we want to do a different pick, we'd focus on the electromagnet.
Great. Good follow-up.
Fantastic job, team. Let's let them hear it in the chat. Wonderful job. And we are going to move on to our next team, which is Team Pals for Pals, with their device Hermes, Enhanced Communication, Safety, and Mobility for patients with ALS.
Hi, my name is Len Weintraub, and today I'm joined by Jason, Jake, Cohen, Wyatt, Maddox, Arjun, and Kyle. We are Team Pals for Pals. We're a team of seniors at Da Vinci Charter Academy. We are mixed up of some designers, coders, and presenters, such as me. But let's first start off with the question, what is ALS? Well, ALS stands for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, which is also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. It's a progressive neurodegenerative disease that affects nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. There are many different symptoms, but the most common ones are weakness in the hands and legs. As of right now, there is no cure, but there is great progress being made on them. It affects any age range, and about 90% of all cases, there are no family or history of the disease. Now we're going to introduce to you our community partner. Her name is Nancy Wakefield. She's the Managing Director of Care Services for the Western region of the Greater Sacramento area, and she's been working there for around 12 years. We met her through my grandmother, who's currently an ALS patient. She works with other patients through the loan closet, where they check out tech and other items to ALS patients and their families, as well as through monthly check-ins. A quote that she gave us that really inspired us was when she said, "I know a big anxiety producing not only for the patient, but also for the caregiver, is if the caregiver has to go do some yard work, how is he going to be able to communicate?" We really wanted to help with this problem.
On to our pivot moment, we are influenced by floor-mounted bathroom lifts. Our initial idea was a device that featured horizontal and rotational movement to lift a patient in and out of the bathtub. The input was voice-activated commands, and the output was the motion and a person being lifted in and out of the bathtub. The problems we faced was holding weight and the complexity of building this thing, and it was out of the scope of our manufacturing. On to introduction to the Hermes. The Hermes is an attachable communication device that goes into a pocket or clips onto the outside of someone's clothing. It has multiple safety features and allows independence for the user. Our inspiration is that we heard many stories that communication is essential and the caregiver can't be next to you at all times. We heard many stories of people using walkie-talkies, baby monitors, and other things that were inefficient and had problems of their own, so we decided to make the Hermes.
For our product features, for inputs, would first be touchless communication between a caregiver's phone and a patient, and a speed above a certain threshold will trigger an alert. Following for our outputs, the caregiver will also receive calls from Hermes and call Hermes. And if falling is detected, the caregiver is alerted. Finally, you can also text and message caregivers. We'll be now moving on to demo. Hello, this is the microphone for the device Hermes, and it won't go off until he says,
"Help, I've fallen."
Now we're going to be going over some user testing. Testers found that it was very comfortable, they enjoyed the shape, and it was discreet when using it in public. Nathan Kwan stated it couldn't be more comfortable inside a pocket. It doesn't hinder activities.
For a competitive matrix, Hermes, which is Highland Yellow, is our product, and our tentative price for it is $55. Its features is two-way communication, fall detection, and text and calls for caregivers, and connects through Wi-Fi. The next one is Medical Garden, which is $8, and fall detection for $10 per month. And it's voice activated and it alerts to the 24-hour center. The next one's Boomer Alert, which is $8 per month, and has two voice communication, GPS locator, and connects to 24 hours center and alert. The final one is Medical Care Alert, which is $40 per month, and it allows the patient to be tracked and talk to someone within 600 feet radius. So the benefits of Hermes that we want to highlight is that the one-time payment, it gives direct contact to the caregiver, it has fall detection, and it's not a separate data plan. We'll now move on to next steps. For our next steps, we'll combine our two demos into one product, develop software to compare the phone and communicate, add text messages to support our alert system, and improve edge cases and reduce false positives. Thank you for watching our presentation.
Can you tell me a little bit about the research that went into determining fall detection as sort of the driving trigger for your product?
Yeah, that's a good question. Jake, do you want to take that?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of our research came from a focus group of patients with ALS that we connected with, and we asked them a lot about their experiences. And a lot of it had to do with the fear of falling, or caretakers fearing that their patients and the ones they look after are going to experience injuries from falling. So we decided to make the accelerometer part of this. Our accelerometer detects the difference of movement, right? If a patient accelerated or decelerated really quickly, that would be detected as a fall. We had to do a lot of testing with false negatives and false positives to make sure that it wouldn't trigger if you stood up quickly or other things like that are similar to that. As you can see in our video, we did testing and we stood up, made sure that it didn't trigger, and then triggered only when we fell.
Great. And so the three features are the fall detection, and you also have speech recognition. They need to say "help, I've fallen." Is that right? They say the exact words, or how does that work? Tell me a little bit about the speech detection.
That's a good question. Colin, do you want to take this?
Sure, I can take this. So for our product, we actually had to go through a lot of iterations of working on this speech detection. The main function was we used the Arduino, I believe. It's a mini Arduino version. And so we had some troubles adding in speech detection for that. Mainly, we use a connection between volume and pitch to detect when someone's speaking into it loudly. And the main way that we can activate it is it's not specifically through that help command. It's mainly if someone's in like a distressed tone while speaking into that.
Okay, great. Anything you want to share in terms of false positive and learning on that aspect?
Colin, do you feel comfortable taking this?
Yeah, sure. I don't mind. So the main false positives came through the accelerometer, but for the microphone input, we have a few recordings of us trying to test it out and getting a few false positives. There's still a few kinks that need to be worked out in the system. However, those are definitely part of our main focus, is working that out and then combining it with the accelerometer. So that's our main next steps.
If I could add on to that really quickly. So the accelerometer was in fact where the majority of our false positive came from. And this was mainly due to the fact that our initial threshold was too high, or too low, I mean. And every time we took a step with the device, it would trigger. And so we then tailored it to low mobility patients, since the people generally with ALS are unable to move very quickly. And we eventually got to the product that you saw in the video, which is able to detect a fall and won't detect a fall when you're standing up or sitting down. And we also got it to a good point where if you walk at about an average pace for someone with low mobility, it won't detect a fall.
Great job, team. I'm sorry, I've got to jump in and interrupt again. We've got to our time limit, but let's give it up in the chat for Team Pals for Pals. Wonderful job, you all. And we will move on now to our next pitch, which is Team Native, a remotely operated camera rail system for citizen scientists to automatically film pollinators.
Hey, Sean, it looks like you might be pulling from a different screen right now, screen sharing.
Thank you for letting me know. Yes, for you guys going into the infinite Zoom
Yeah.
vortex. Yep,
There you go.
Cool. All right.
We are Native, dedicated to observing and preserving our coastal biodiversity habitat. Our team is from St. Ignatius College Preparatory, class of 2025. We are creating a device to solve our community partners' problem of native pollinators slowly decreasing in population. Coastal California, where we live, is among the top 36 biodiversity regions in the world. So success in conserving species can have an enormous impact on securing global biodiversity. The name of this biodiversity hotspot in the orange is California Floristic Province. As you can see, it is located along North America's Pacific coast, which includes most of California. Biodiversity is essential for pollinators, who are necessary for agriculture. So we want to help promote pollinators. In the Sunset alone, there are 5 major habitat zones: beach, coastal scrub, woodlands, dunes, and chaparral. In the California coastal habitat, the biodiversity is 5 times greater than all other California inland habitats. This is due to the fact that there are many different habitat zones. These habitats are home to many pollinators. However, there's a problem happening with that here in San Francisco called Insectageddon. It is the mass extinction of insects, including many native pollinators who are dying rapidly due to unnatural circumstances. So our community partner is Mr. Cody. He has grown up here in the Sunset and feels a deep connection to this area. He has spent 25 plus years learning about the coastal scrub habitat. He studied resource management at UC Berkeley and later theology. He is a teacher here at St. Ignatius.
Mr. Cody, our mentor, said one particular memory is a favorite, when a Cooper's hawk caught and consumed a pocket gopher on my fence. We can use the garden as a window into the natural world on a daily basis. The coastal scrub habitat has a great deal of natural beauty if you actually understand it and see it. Share Cody's passion and encourage others to learn and appreciate our native neighborhood. We can use the garden as a window into the natural world on a daily basis. Another quote from Dr. Cody is, "A diverse ecosystem is a resilient ecosystem," and "the goal is to provide sanctuary." We initially thought to promote rooftop gardens here in the Sunset, a strategy used in Chicago and Newark to recover land for native pollinators. But in talking to various residents, we could see that people were not excited about the idea of placing a heavy, water-absorbing planter on their roofs. Our solution: our camera system provides information to our website and database, which can then be used together to help our customer get a better understanding of how truly of an impact they are making on the community.
Camera will be using CHDK, which is a software upgrade for Canon cameras. We will be using its motion detection feature to capture pictures of the pollinators. We took some photos of bugs using CHDK on a camera, and were able to catch some of the bugs in action. This proves that our camera system will work, and bugs landing in the user's garden will be photographed. The camera will be mounted on a camera rail system, which has a carriage that will move parallel to the garden. The system will have 3 axes of movement and will be able to view the garden and all pollinators from all angles.
It's a great idea. Can you tell me a bit about the wildlife?
Sorry,
research
I
that went into
apologize.
this?
I'm sorry, that actually was not the end of the video.
Oh, great.
Sorry about that. There was just here we go.
Onto a website. This website is a place to learn, share, and participate in science. It includes compelling stories like Mr. Cody's Cooper's Hawk. It also includes tools on how to make your own native garden, as well as our camera. The images and information from the camera gets loaded onto a database. This database provides an easy way to display our customers' data. They can view the frequency and duration of pollinator visits to their garden, displayed here. This is our competitor matrix. Our product is unique because it is garden specific, is low cost, has precise control, includes a website and a dataset, and has 3-axis movement. Our next steps will be to make our product solar powered, energy efficient, be remotely operated, and include AI to identify pollinators and plant types.
All right, now I'll turn it over to.
Okay, we're good now. All right, cool.
Uh-huh.
All right, so can you tell me a little bit about the wildlife research that went into this, and in terms of how you picked this as a specific target?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Sure. Just can you tell me a little bit about the research that made you pick pollinators specifically versus maybe some of the other wildlife features that you could have picked?
Pollinators are like one of the base animals of the ecosystem because they help keep the plants alive, which also helps keep all of the other animals alive in the entire ecosystem. So if you bring back the pollinators, then you also bring back the entire ecosystem.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Do you have any ideas in terms of how to measure the impact of your product?
Yeah, that's what the website and database is for. One of the pivot points that we had was being able to measure our impact. And so we decided to have our camera rail system also track the number of pollinators in the user's gardens so they could measure their progress.
Great. I just had one follow-up question to that. The 3 axes of movement on the camera-mounted device, which are the 2? Where's didn't see the 3rd.
So basically the CAD design that we showed you, it only had 2 axes of movement. So we didn't add the last axis, would just be up and down. So we'd add like a camera mount onto the last carriage on top, and then that would be able to swivel to provide another axis of movement to get different angles and perspectives on the garden that you wouldn't have.
Thank you.
Can you tell me a bit about what you want your customers to use their data for? Like how you expect this observation to lead to better conservation efforts?
Yeah, so this data is going to be used for citizen science. It's really to help people like Mr. Cody, our community partner, be inspired to plant native plant gardens and see what they're doing right for their garden to help support native ecosystems.
And then the website, I take it, is already built. Is that right?
Yeah, our website is complete.
Okay, nice. What ideas do you have for people that might want to utilize what you've built here, but maybe don't want to invest or can't invest into the sliding device and maybe an expensive SLR or some other type of camera?
So if they can't afford it, on our website we have a thing that tells you how to build a garden, and this from using things you might have at home and how to make it from scratch, like a DIY garden, and it won't be that expensive. And through there'll also be like a discussion, maybe like a blog thing where you could upload your images and your comments and see other people's gardens, and also they could track their gardens maybe manually and say send pictures of them or say what pollinators they've had there.
Got it. Great.
One last question. Have you done any research into how you might incorporate AI into this? I noticed you mentioned that. Have you thought about that any further?
So there's apps that we've seen before, such as I forgot the name of it. I think it's called like iNature, and basically you can scan images of plants or animals and is able to determine what they are just through an image.
Very cool.
All right, excellent job, Team Nature. Once again, give it up in the chat. Big shout outs, fantastic work. We're gonna move on to our next presentation. This is Team Toady, and their tagline is makes owning a tortoise easy.
I'm Luke Druschel.
I'm Nico.
I'm Colin. And this is our presentation on the Toady Tracker, which we are some of the members of the team for.
Our community partner is Karen Hill. She's a retired employee for the school district, and she fosters and owns lots of pets. Some of these pets include her tortoises. Now she stresses out the well-being of her tortoises because they're great at hiding. She needs us to find a way to ensure that these tortoises are safe and haven't escaped. The problem we are facing is that these tortoises are very sneaky. They are enclosed in a large area because small environments are too bad for their health. They can dig holes, there are lots of bushes, and they camouflage very well into their environment. Our solution to this is Toady, Tortoise On-Shell Tracking Instrument. It is meant to have an easy adhesion to the shortest shell, but it will last a long time and won't damage the shell at all. It has Bluetooth and GPS compatibility, and it will display information in the phone app we have, very similar to Maps or Waze.
So some of the features that our product includes is a light so that you can kind of flash the device and find your tortoise easier, but it also includes, of course, GPS tracking. And by doing this, we're able to use some kind of map on an application, and we're able to have kind of this user-friendly experience and interface that can help you find your tortoise really easily. And this allows you to really quickly find them and ensure that they're still safe and still within their pen, rather than having maybe escaped or gotten stuck somewhere. And that's how you're able to make sure that they're all right.
So some of our competitors are AirTags, which is about $30, but this is only compatible to Apple devices. And then PetTile is about $25. But the thing with this, you need a subscription. With our product, once you buy it, it's pretty affordable and you don't need any subscription or monthly fee. But pricing is overall pretty affordable. With our device, we're using Bluetooth, which is in a smaller scale range. With other devices, they use a different means to track it, which also usually tends to be more expensive. So, with pricing further in depth. First, we have our Arduino Feather, which is a circuit board, and that's about $30. And then we have the NEO 6M GPS, which is about roughly $8. We could definitely find cheaper GPSs out there. And then with the adhesion battery, wire, and casing put together, it's about roughly $10. We have designed our own easy and lightweight case, which has been 3D printed, and that's very cheap. And with the adhesion, it's really not that expensive at all. And we use minimal wires, and we have one singular battery. When we add that all up together, it's about roughly $45, which is overall really affordable, and there's no monthly subscription or fee.
So our goal with our product is really to try and get it to work on every platform and to make it as easy to use as possible. So what we're trying to do right now that we have a working prototype, is compact the design, improve the GPS accuracy, because at the moment it goes down to an accuracy of about 8 meters within the range of the actual tracker. And we will also, in the future, want to maybe design a version of this product for other animals. At the moment, it's designed specifically for tortoises to go on tortoise shells and adhere well, and we want to try and get that to work for other products in addition to tortoises. Now, what is our dream? Well, our dream is to create kind of a safer experience for all tortoise owners and make it more of a potential option as getting a pet. Because at the moment, right, there's a lot of stresses that you have to worry about when taking care of a tortoise. Will I be able to find it, right? Has it escaped? And so the aim is to try and make it a more open experience and make it much more easy to do. And by producing this product and doing our best to make it a very easy kind of setup and get it to just adhere to a tortoise very well, we are aiming to try and make the best world we can possibly and the best experience we can for any tortoise owner in the future.
Great. Can you tell me, I noticed you said that adhesion to the tortoise was one of your differentiating features. what makes that a differentiator? Like what makes that specifically, a thing that the others aren't doing, and what kind of research went into that?
Yeah, it's a good question. And that's actually one that I can answer. So what's really interesting about our product as opposed to maybe an alternative like an AirTag is it comes with an adhesion specifically for a tortoise shell. While, for instance, an AirTag coming from Apple doesn't come with anything, no way to attach it to a key ring or anything. And something like a pet fond tracker also isn't designed to go on a tortoise shell and keep them safe without harming the back of the shell or something. And so ours, we're able to safely attach it using a modified version of tape, and you don't have to worry about maybe a DIY solution, which there are DIY solutions because this is a large issue for tortoise owners where they'll pour resin on the back of their tortoise's shell to try and get it to stick well. And really, this is just the safest alternative that we can find.
Great.
So tell me about the tracker. Is it an app on the mobile device?
Yes, that's a great question. And that's something that Adrian can tell you about.
Yeah, so for our product, we have a tracker, we have a phone device that will, or a phone app that will point in the direction of the tracker. We have a Neo 6M GPS device for our Arduino, which gets the GPS data, and then the Adafruit 32U Feather will send that data to the Bluetooth app that we will make. It's not fully developed yet, but it'll send it to there, and just like how we showed, it'll have an arrow that points in the direction, and possibly in the future, it might have a Google Maps type situation where you can see both you and the tortoise on the screen.
Have you thought about, future technology directions a little bit, just in terms of like how you might scale this out a little bit for further distances, or anything future related to the technology?
Yeah, so the idea right now is that we're able to keep our product more affordable and open, like just user friendly by having it use Bluetooth with Bluetooth 5.0, giving us actually quite a impressive amount of range. And we think it kind of works really well. But in the future, as technology continues to develop, we'd like to make alternatives that say work for other animals or make a more compact version, because right now it is fairly large and we'd like to try and get it as small as possible. So as technology keeps getting better and faster and smaller, we think that that would be ideal actually for our situation.
Now, why did you decide on adhesion to the back of the shell instead of, for instance, some sort of bracelet or other type of band, if you will?
That's a great question. And that's actually something that Colin can answer for you.
All right. So the question is, why do we choose adhesion? Well, actually, a couple weeks ago, I tested this on a tortoise I have. So this tape that we got is called Alien. This tape is easily installed onto the tortoise, and it is also removed, but it keeps our Arduino device, Toda, on the tortoise safely and secure. Like Luke said, Toda is a little bit bulky right now, so it could limit its movement to an extent. And since the size that we have, it wouldn't be, I guess, helpful to use like you said, like a brace or something like that. There wouldn't be any other really alternative way to put it on the tortoise.
Got it. And the impact of this, how many tortoise owners are there?
Well, with tortoise owners, our friend Karen, which is our community partner, she has actually a large of that she's a part of different reptiles and tortoise owners in Sacramento.
But perhaps throughout the state, how many do you think? Any stats?
I would say quite a few at least.
Got it. Thank you.
Great job, Team Toady. Let's let them hear that in the chat. Keep that appreciation going. Fantastic. And we are going to move on to our next presentation, our next pitch video. This is the Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Library. Sorry, everybody. The ButterPad helps maintain an orderly environment by monitoring furniture placement and ambient sound levels.
This is the pitch for The ButterPad by the Guardians of the Library. Our problem is that Ms. Wanger, the librarian, doesn't like moving the chairs back every day at the end of her workday. And as such, we have devised a solution that involves certain chairs having certain zones that they want to go into, e.g. the comfy chairs in the comfy zone or the computer chairs by the computer tables. And lastly, the last part of her problem is that people move the chairs every day, which she's fine with because she enjoys the space being fluid, but she really just doesn't like having to move them back at the end of the day.
Here is how we will address that problem. Our product has two features, the pressure plate and the decibel meter. When there is pressure on the pressure plate with buttons, there will be no lights, but when the pressure is removed, the lights will turn on. Our decibel meter attaches to certain parts of the library and will sense when the noise gets too high, and therefore the lights will turn on.
This is our model in progress. The pink represents a spring, and the button is the button inside the model. This piece of cardboard is a platform, and when there's a chair on it, it presses down and it pushes the button, and it turns off the lights. And then when the chair is taken off, the springs lift up the platform and the lights come back on. We also included a decibel meter, and it lights up the blue light when there's too much noise.
Why Miss Wenger, the librarian, likes our solution. 1, it's feasible. We can easily make it. 2, it's useful and will be applied in helpful ways. And 3, it's versatile and has many possible uses.
We engaged in a customer feedback loop with Ms. Wenger, and some of her comments, her quotes, were she liked the idea of the decibel meter, she liked the idea of the self-sufficiency of the product, mainly because she didn't like having wires exposed, and she also thought that sounds could potentially be distracting for students trying to work.
This is the butter pad versus top competitors, and why it is the best on the market. As you can see, the butter pad is very cheap. It's only $15. Compared to the Apple AirTag and the GPS tracker, which are expensive and also require a paired device to work. Additionally, the butter pad has a decibel meter to measure the sound of the surroundings to keep students from being too loud. That is a big plus for the librarian. And it also uses visuals in LED lights to remind them to bring their chairs back. Our next steps. In the future, we plan on streamlining our product. One of the biggest pros with the Apple AirTags was that it was small and it could be used anywhere. It was very versatile. We plan on using a new system, a Bluetooth system, switching to a master and slave one, so that we can better measure range from the home base. And then also, it could be held in a smaller container, possibly as small as a butter dish.
The butter pad, the best thing since sand toast. Thank you for watching.
Can you tell me some of the feedback that you got from your community partners specifically about your device and how that may have informed some of the later design decisions? Oh, can't hear you guys, sorry. Oh.
Maybe
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we answer your question, we'd like to show you a demonstration of our prototype, which we've greatly improved since our pitch video.
Okay, so
this is an example.
Wait. Okay, wait. So right here is the butter pad, our very beautiful butter pad. Right here, one second. It's an example of the chair being placed on the butter pad, and then right here, the platform lowers, the button triggers. Yeah, and then once the chair's removed, then
And this is an actual full-scale model with a real library chair taken from our library.
And right here would be where the lights would be.
Yeah. So we built kind of the
the electronic components separately. So here, this is a button, and when the chair is on the butter pad, it'll push the button down and turn off all the lights. And then once the chair is released, then the lights will gradually come back on like that.
Cool.
And then we also right here, I'm not sure, right here is the decibel meter. And if you talk into it, it'll light the thing up. So Rini, do you wanna?
Should I scream? I don't think I should scream
Yeah.
right now, but you get the point. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. So do you envision this being installed in the floor, or will these be like platforms sitting on top of the floor, or what's the final design understanding?
So, well, initially, like currently, just so we can, as our stage one, we have it being placed on top of the carpet, but eventually we'll have it installed like under the carpet so that it's not like a hazard for the chairs.
Well, it's a platform, so like the chair will just be on it, and it's just like an indicator of where like the chairs will go.
What are maybe some future roadmap plans you have for design changes or other developments to tack onto this?
Okay, would you like to answer this?
Yes. Obviously, we'd want to sink it into the ground or perhaps make it less of a tripping hazard, because we understand that some students might either have difficulty getting their chair back onto the platform if they take it off. So we definitely want to sort of sink it into the floor. And then we'd also like to consider adding like sort of a sensing mechanism to see how far away the chair is from its original location, so that it can respond on its own, so that there's sort of a two-part system, so that there's both the platform lighting up and the chair itself having different sort of reactions. So there can be like a speaker, an LED, etc.
I see. Nice.
Cool. Have you done any market research to see if there are other products that kind of are like this, or other than maybe an AirTag, but is there anything specific for this, or is it sort of a novel take on things?
Let's see, Trey, do you want to take this?
Yes. Hi. So our design is pretty much novel. The closest thing on the market was pressure pads that were used to prevent break-ins in houses. So they would be triggered when people walked over them or a force limit was exceeded. So that's rather similar to our product, but we have completely repurposed it, using it for chairs instead of for preventing break-ins.
And we've also added a decibel meter, which is a lot different from, like Trey said, the pressure pads in homes. So we're combating the issue of distance, so chairs being on the platform, and then also sound, so making sure that the library is quiet as it should be.
Great.
Do you have any other questions for us?
That actually brings us right to our time. So I would love to invite some big shout outs for Guardians of the Library. Really fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right. And that, well, actually, if I can bring it back, Lee, do we have any update from Nicole? Is their team ready to present?
Yeah, let's check in. So Brainy Badgers, you're up. Why don't we let you get started screen sharing and just see if you can screen share for video or sound quality. And if not, we'll try and do a little bit of ad lib, but we will stick to that 6:05 time frame.
Yeah, I'll give it another shot. Let's see if we can share the sound this time.
So just for context, viewers, Brainy Badgers work so hard on their pitch. They have voiceover for their slides, and my Google Slides wouldn't take that data and turn it into, well, the PowerPoint wouldn't translate it over to Google Slides. So we also experienced a little bit of technical difficulty on our end. So we're trying to still make sure they get a chance to show off their incredible work. If we're unable to get it up, okay, I see you're sharing computer sound, Nicole. Are you also able to share the image of the slides?
Oh, you can't see my screen?
No, but why don't you click play and let's see if we can hear it.
Okay.
So it works. Foes to enlighten your tech by the Brainy Badgers.
Okay, Nicole, we can hear it.
That's such a great question, Tani.
Can
When your
you pause
entire
it
world
though?
revolves around your laptop, a forgetful moment can cause a bigger pain than.
All right, let's see if you can also share the slides. Is it possible to get those up as well?
Okay, I'll try to share the screen. I'm not sure it lets me do both.
When you have this screen share, there's the little checkbox in the bottom left corner that's share computer audio. That might help.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
When you click the share screen button, you'll have an option. There's going to be two check marks. One is to optimize for video and the other is share computer audio. You want to make sure both of those are checked.
It's not letting me click those.
Okay, what are your students comfortable, Nicole, with ad-libbing? And if you just share the slides only, having them spend about 3 minutes pitching, would they be comfortable doing that?
Yeah, that's not going to work. Thank you for trying. I'm sorry I can't share it with everyone.
I'm sorry too. Let me see if I can try one last thing. Y'all
Wait,
bear with
let me
for
try
one minute.
let me try one more thing to see if I can share the sound. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, how do we fix it? Oh my. So Chris, Stella works. Foes to enlighten your tech by the Brainy Badgers.
It worked,
So,
Nicole.
where should we have this? That's such a great question, Tani. When your entire world revolves around your laptop, a forgetful moment can cause a bigger pain than necessary. Leaving your charger at home can cause you to be unable to complete work, which means you're going to be less productive and cause additional stress and anxiety to your body, which is like totally not healthy. So, how do we fix it? Oh my god, Tani, you came up with a solution?
Yes, our big idea includes solar food. We chose this because accessible,
So you could bring it everywhere.
convenience,
So you could take it everywhere.
of course, aesthetic.
Wow, that's so pretty.
The inner workings of it having at least 4 to 6 medium-sized panels so it can still be accessible for everyone, and having a parallel system just in case one's break down, it will still continue perfectly, having a silicone base with magnets on the back.
So we compared it to two different companies, X Dragon and Big Blue. We compared it on whether or not it was convenient, pocket sized, recyclable, or had a power bank. Stella Works has all three, so obviously we're the best.
Call of Duty.
Most of the spendings will go to technology like the magnets, wiring, and silicone materials. Other will go to technology or overheading.
What's next? Well, our big dream is to create a mass production of Stella Works worldwide that is accessible to everyone's day to day.
Our end goal is to have a working phone with a specially designed inverter and make it custom made for every person.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, cool. Can you tell me a little bit about it being recyclable? That's pretty cool.
The main idea in here is like having like disposable wires, so in case when it breaks down, maybe and someone leave on the ground, over time it will decompose and be like semi-good for the earth.
Yeah, I like the idea. So how many, I don't know, watts or how much electricity does it actually produce? And have you had any chance to try any of this out to see if it actually charges a laptop or just kind of trickles it?
For the actual like design and basis, we haven't actually created one yet. We're going to be using like ones that's used for iPhones or such, usually carrying but like a decent, if I can remember, like 600, because we are planning to have a power bank so you can save power over time.
Got it.
And how many panels was it going to have?
4 to 6 for just in case of a small laptop, it can still be on the back of your laptop case.
Oh, great. What sort of ideas do you have about how to make it attractive? I noticed you mentioned aesthetic was one of the big goals there. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Because we plan to like maybe have like orders. So using silicone bases, you can customize the silicone color, or maybe put like gemstones inside of it as we make it, or use LED lights inside of it.
And your budget, $700 to $800. Tell me a little bit about that.
Because we are planning to make at least like 5 to 15 of it and test them like at least in a week or a month and come back with results of it, just in case like something burns out or anything like that.
I see. What does the inverter do? And did you guys play around with any just direct connections from the solar panels directly to the unit? And like, for instance, with type C?
For inverters, since like usually them are like chunky, which would make like a slim one to go inside the silicon basing to be like all compacted. As for solar panels, I like have some sets with them, like minor ones making like little like, what's the word? Like those DIY robot kits. Sometimes it's like kind of difficult to have the wiring to connect to the power source, but yeah.
Okay, great.
Can you tell me a little bit about the power bank design and how you approach that?
For the power bank design, is like having like a not like a really like a explain like using a solar power battery, because I'm using solar cells as solar panels so it can store in power, and that's what I'm really thinking of right now, so it can still stay slim.
Nice. And how much does it go for once this is developed?
If it actually goes, we're making for $28.
Nice. Sounds affordable.
Fantastic. Well, great job, Brainy Badgers. Let's hear it in the chat for them. And that wraps up our pitches. Let's hear it for everybody. Wow, that was just fantastic. Congratulations to all of our brilliant student teams and the amazing support networks of teachers, mentors, and family. Our panelists will now head off to another room where they'll have time to deliberate and decide on our 4 awards. And the rest of us are now in for an incredible treat with our keynote speaker, followed by some highlights of this year from each of our teams. It is my pleasure at this time to introduce our keynote, Mary Glide, who is VP of Technology at Sequoia Capital. Mary is the Vice President of Technology and founding member of Sequoia's Technology Services team. She has spent the last 18 years building systems that drive performance, specifically around data science, relationship intelligence, CRM, and company building tools. Mary serves as a mentor with Ascent to provide up-and-coming women in technical roles with mentorship and resources to help advance their careers. Please welcome Mary. The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you. Let me pull up some slides real quick. All right. So hopefully you guys can all see the slides with my name on it at the moment. I am just going to kind of walk you guys through my journey to where I've gotten today and how I've approached a lot of the kind of problems similar to what you guys have been working on for this. So I'm going to start at the beginning. So I grew up outside Davis, California, in a sheep and cattle ranch, and I was the oldest of 5 kids. So constantly kind of getting put in charge of babysitting all the younger ones. And I was excited to see there's some other Davis people here today. When I was 16, I signed up to do exchange, and I had wanted to kind of go experience other places in the world and learn new kind of experiences and things. The irony is I ended up on exchange on a sheep ranch in New Zealand. So I basically moved from California to New Zealand to experience the exact same thing that I grew up with. So it didn't quite work out exactly as I had planned. But when I got back, my friends and I, we all decided we really wanted to start a teen center in the town that I went to high school in. I went to high school in a town called Dixon. And so, you know, there was just kind of this issue. Dixon's a tiny town. There's not much to do. And so we were just trying to look for a way for us and our friends and classmates to connect. And so we did all of our research, and then we went and met with our local city and got completely turned down. It was the roughest meeting I've ever been in because, you know, no one ever wants to be told you can't do it. But we were kind of given the lecture of there's so much red tape and you're going to have to do permits and you're going to have to do this. And we got walked through it, and it was a sad, rough experience being told you can't do something. So I don't know, has anyone here, you can either think about this or put it in the chat. Have you experienced a time where you've just been told you can't do something or experienced failure? Curious if others have had similar experiences, just something to think about. Well, oops. Well, after high school, so didn't get the teen center going, but I did have the goal of going to college with all of my friends. So we all had a pact that we were going to go to school in Oregon together. I had applied to several colleges. I had applied for an engineering program in all of them except for Oregon, which did not have an engineering program. And I ultimately decided to go there because that's where my friends were going. However, that last year of high school, a bunch of my friends were in a band called Papa Roach, which then became quite famous. And so I ended up being the only one to go to school in Oregon. So went there, did all my pre-med coursework because that was kind of what I had chosen instead of engineering at the time. Junior year, saw my loan balance, freaked out a little bit, realizing that like, hey, if I go to med school, this is going to grow even larger. No one had explained to me the concept of out-of-state tuition. So I was figuring all of these things out at the time. So junior year, quickly figured out what degree can I have that I can start paying back these loans right away. And so that is how I actually ended up becoming an accountant. Bet you thought I was going to say something tech related if you'd seen my title earlier. But nope, I switched into accounting and got my degree. Had to quickly, take lots of extra classes, do some summer school, but graduated the degree in accounting and got a job working at PwC as an auditor in San Jose. This was kind of right around the time that, the tech scene was booming in the Bay Area. And I just, even after I got my CPA, I kept wanting to go back to engineering, which was what I had wanted to do in the first place when I was in high school. And so I worked really hard to, on the side, kind of teach myself how to code, figure out what to do. Accounting, public accounting, I was working 100 hours a week. It was slightly over the top, but somehow found time to teach myself how to do software development and started applying for jobs places. It is very hard to convince someone when you are a CPA that you know how to do software development. No one wanted to listen to me. No one wanted to believe that, oh, a CPA could also be a software engineer. So definitely struggled with that. I eventually obviously did get a job, but curious, another kind of thing for people to think about. Is there a time where you've had just a strong ambition to really just try to work through something, even when you're told you can't do it, like you're going to figure it out. You're going to, make it through all of that hard work to get what you want? Well, I finally did it. I got my dream job. I got a job at Sequoia. So I have actually been here. It's actually now 19 years. And they were luckily looking for someone who could both do finance and build out software systems here. So I'm pretty sure I might be the only person at that time who could do both of those things. So it worked out well for me. And when I got here, I just really started to get curious about things. I wanted to learn every part of the business. Sequoia is a venture capital firm. We're investing in new companies. It was fun to see what companies were coming in the door. This new company called YouTube, these two guys started coming in the office every day. They incubated here, and just watching what all these companies were doing, I eventually kind of changed my role so that I could do everything. So there were 30 employees at the time, and I did finance, marketing, and building all of our technology solutions. We've since grown, and now I have just focused myself purely on the technology side. But all of that curiosity I had and kind of doing these different roles within the company really helped me to build better software solutions for the company. It gave me insights into what all the individuals across the organization needed help with, and really kind of helped me figure out like we needed intelligent solutions. And so started building out tools where we could really understand like who knows who, what companies do we know, and start building things out. So kind of another prompt for you to think about, like when have you had a strong desire to kind of learn something or been curious about something? And how has that kind of changed the way you think about things? Well, one thing that I had after switching out of public accounting, so no longer working the ridiculous 100-hour weeks, so working at Sequoia, I had time to do some volunteer work. So my family, my great-great-grandmother started an organization in San Francisco called Glide Memorial Church and Glide Foundation. So now that I had more time, I wanted to really get involved. So I started going and volunteering every single week. And one thing I noticed is that on Sundays, there was no children's program. So I started asking around, tried to figure out, hey, why aren't there children here? Where are all the kids? And what I learned is that they had a children's program, and at one point it had shut down. So, I started to look. I was like, well, it seems like we still need children. So everyone was like, well, there aren't kids here anymore, so we don't really need that. But I surveyed the community, learned that the reason there weren't kids there anymore is because there was no more children's program on Sundays. And so, really kind of started to make the case for why we needed it. I started working with management. They're like, well, we don't have space anymore. There's health and safety concerns. And so it kind of brought me back to the teen center days of high school of trying to be, being told, yeah, it's not going to happen. There's no way you can get through all the hurdles. I, this time, was much more resilient. I was determined to get a children's program going. It took me probably 2 years, and I learned all sorts of things. So I learned that we need to get everyone fingerprinted to be able to volunteer in the program. So where can people get fingerprinted? Where can we do background checks? How can we get them TB tests to make sure, we've got kind of all the health guidelines? What kind of insurance do we need? Then once some space freed up, what do we need to do to the space to be compliant for having children there? So I learned you have to have a window in the door into the classroom. So getting a new door installed, recruiting volunteers, getting the room outfitted with all the things that kids need. So finally made it happen, and it was very rewarding. And that program has now been around for the last 12 years, and it's going strong. And there are now children again. So let's see. So can you think of a time when you've experienced resilience in your life, when you've been able to adapt and kind of recover from some difficulties? Looks like people are definitely agreeing with this. All right. Well, let's move on. Oh boy, sports injury, not good. So now we're going to kind of jump forward a little bit. So, volunteered with Glide for years, and I'm now on their board of directors. And it's, our Glide CEO jokes that it's my second job. I think my coworkers probably think the same. But now we're kind of dealing with large problems. I'm sure many of you have heard about all of the kind of homeless crisis in San Francisco. So one of the things that Glide focuses on is kind of just different social issues around poverty, homelessness, racial and social justice issues. And so this here is a picture of the building with a line of people outside waiting to get food and services. And so one thing we've noticed is that the issues in the city have really spiraled out of control. And so we really kind of wanted to figure out, like, are we really working with the community in the best possible way? We were curious to learn more about what some of the issues are. You know, it's one thing to just kind of provide all these services, but really trying to understand what's going on, especially the last couple of years. It's really been an interesting time with the pandemic and, you know, having to be adaptive to, you know, how do we still provide services when we can't have people inside? So like things like moving our meals program out into the street and serving meals outside, things like that. But as we kind of got curious about things, we learned that although in the picture graph on the map on the left, you can see where kind of the dark spots are, probably where most people would think that there's homeless issues in San Francisco. That's where you visibly see tents and people on the streets. But as we dug in, we learned that actually the chart on the right shows where people are living that are homeless. So they might be, you know, in not as visible ways. They might be living in their cars, and that homelessness is actually an issue throughout San Francisco. And so we needed a new approach to help people. We can't expect everyone to come to us. Glide's located in the Tenderloin. And so how can we kind of, you know, address the needs of everyone in the city? We needed to think of a new approach. And so what we came up with is, you know, a few different things kind of working together, but basically a mobile services initiative. So we bought a van to try this out, and we bring it to the different neighborhoods that we have now have learned are also having some of the same homelessness issues. We've created partnerships with a lot of other organizations in the city, and we create these service hubs. So like one day a week, we'll do a pop-up in a neighborhood. And that will allow everybody to kind of come. You know, there's a mobile shower. So if people need, you know, to kind of get clean, we've got all sorts of different, anything, you know, we've got food for them, access to resources, as well as just kind of we'll walk through the streets and just provide any outreach that people need. So no longer do people need to come and find us. We can come and help them in their own communities. And, you know, kind of our ambition for the program is really to see, like, what can we continue to build? So we're going to grow this program and buy more vans because it has been really successful in our kind of initial trials. But then how can we start to then use technology to, you know, connect everyone, both for our clients and our partnerships with other organizations? And so really excited to kind of use these same skills that I know you guys have been focused on recently to really expand and create an even better program to hopefully address some of those issues in the city. So just kind of to wrap it up, really focusing on those three things: curiosity, you know, kind of as you approach things, resilience, you know, figuring out ways to adapt as things come up, and then just really kind of that ambition to like really think through and take things to the next level. So I would love to open it up for questions though, as kind of anyone has anything they want to ask. And feel free to like drop it in the chat if you don't feel comfortable talking, or you can even private message me if you want, but happy to answer any questions.
Was there like one specific experience you had that just like really moved you to really fight for this?
Are you talking about with the Glide stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of it was more of a everyday experience. So I head into the Tenderloin all the time, and you can see that things were changing And so it was kind of a sense that a lot of us got. And so it really, brought us all to kind of do the research and figure it out more. And we kind of started thinking about it before the pandemic happened. And then, the pandemic definitely made it a bigger priority for us. So, really kind of how can we help people? Because, the city was, I don't know if anyone went to San Francisco in the kind of that first year in 2020, but it looked a lot different. So. All right, I've got a question on when you first started working in tech, did you doubt yourself? And if so, how did you overcome that? I 100% doubted myself. I had imposter syndrome like you wouldn't believe. I was constantly, especially since I didn't have the official degree in engineering, I was always self-conscious. Like, did I write that code as efficiently as possible? And the nice thing is that it was really kind of, as I started working with more people and other engineers, and they would kind of give me more of the confidence. They're like, wow, how did you do that? And then it was like, oh wow, this person has all the degrees and is impressed with the way I approach things. And so it was really nice to kind of find a community of other people and then you can just kind of bounce things off of, and you can kind of work up your confidence in it. But I will say, I always go through highs and lows of confidence and then doubting and confidence and doubting. And a lot of times what happens in those is I really just kind of learn more. I want to, kind of learn my way back into confidence whenever I start to doubt myself again. Any other questions?
Mary, I see one question in the chat from Jerome. It says, how does Glide identify where to take the mobile services within those areas that you've identified?
Yeah, so we kind of started with the areas that in the research showed they had the largest need. And so, we've kind of, so Glide itself is in the Tenderloin, but, kind of Soma is one of the areas that also has a lot of needs. We went there. I'm trying to remember a couple of the other areas that we've done tests with. I think the Sunset might have been one of the other test areas. And so, kind of trying to get a variety of different types of groups of people to try to figure out what works, what doesn't, because it is a constant learning thing. And each neighborhood will kind of be different and they might have different partnerships. But the one thing we really want to do is make sure it's a consistent experience. So it's like, once we get these programs really launched, it's like every Tuesday, the community knows like, oh, Glide's going to be here. I can get the help I need. We're really excited about trying these out. So. Oh, I see. What would I tell my 16-year-old self looking back? Oh man. My 16-year-old self was very confident, but did not know where life was going. And I would tell my 16-year-old self, that's okay. Like, as you can see, it was here, there, and everywhere. And so it's okay not to know what you're going to do. As long as you're kind of making your own path the way you want it. So.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Mary. In the chat, people are absolutely loving that quote that you said, that learn my way back to confidence. And I will certainly be holding on to that one. Yeah. Thank you for such a wonderful talk. Really appreciate that. Wow. With that, I would love to turn it back over to our student teams to share about their journey with Project Invent this year. We'll spend the next 10 minutes learning about our students' experience. Okay, so students, this is a little bit putting you on the spot, but it's okay. We didn't expect you to rehearse this part. I have two questions that I'd like you to answer. And because, we are on this time frame, we will keep them brief. So if you can, in a sentence, in a minute, what was a significant challenge that you experienced while designing your product? And two, what helped you remain resilient? This theme that we heard in our keynote, what helped you remain resilient, or what motivated you when you experienced challenges? This is meant to be a brief and informal reflection. Each team is going to have about a minute to answer the two questions. So we're going to go in presentation order. That means we'll start with Team Voice, Project Voice. We'd love to learn more about your year with Project Invent. What was a significant challenge that you experienced while designing your product? And what helped you remain resilient, or what motivated you when you experienced challenges? Have a representative from Project Voice who could hop
Hello.
off and answer that? Oh, wonderful.
A challenge we faced was working with the Arduino. And so working with the Arduino was challenging, and we had to work through it, trying to figure out exactly how to fix some certain aspects of it. And we're still working on it. So we're still facing that challenge. But what motivates us is to finish the project and get what we wanted done, because it was like important to us. We wanted to finish what we planned to do. So what motivated us was completing our project, and you know, it's like seeing the final work so we can be proud of ourselves.
Love that. Thank you so much. All right. Can we go over to Team Brainy Badgers? What is a challenge that you experienced, and what helped you remain resilient or motivated you when you experienced those challenges?
I'm so sorry, none of the students are here anymore because it's 8:30 our time. They had to do homework, so I'll pass on them for them.
No worries. Thank you. Thank you, team. We appreciate you joining us. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So let's hop over to Amphibious Inc.
I think one of the biggest struggles we faced was finding a technological or physical issue with our team partner. I think a lot of the issues in the library, which is what our team partner worked at, was social issues, and that was really difficult for us to figure out. And I think a lot of the motivation was trying to figure out something to help the library that our team could actually do something with. But yeah, we're really thankful for our team, for our partner, for sticking with us and helping us learn throughout the way.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let's hear from Vortex Industries. A representative from Team Vortex Industries that can share a challenge they faced and how they remained motivated and resilient in face of that? All right, we'll come back around. Can we hear from Team LED?
A challenge that we faced was just kind of thinking of a product that would actually be helpful and make a difference in our life. I think it was hard because we had limitations because we didn't know that much about like engineering and being able to create like an actual physical thing. And there are already a lot of products on the market. So kind of just a challenge is thinking of a unique solution.
Awesome, thank you. Let's hear from Team Care.
So our biggest challenge was empathizing with our community partner. We don't really have access to people who had anxiety or panic attacks. So it's hard for us to kind of find means to test our product, but also find means that actually help our community partner and the people and her patients, because we didn't have that direct connection, so we couldn't empathize with them directly. And for what helped us remain resilient was the bond we had with our team. We all kept motivating each other and through challenges, and we stayed together as a team, and we had a really positive vibe with it. So
awesome, thank you. Let's hear from Spurgle.
Yeah, we definitely had a lot of challenges with our product. For starters, it was kind of hard to like differentiate from trying to keep our product like focused to our client, but also without it being too specific. So we wanted to target a specific range of people, but we also didn't want to make it too focused. And also the product itself, like the prototype, didn't work for like a month, and then we ended up finally getting it to work consistently. And then Lily was going to take the second half.
Yeah, and I think keeping ourselves motivated was really hard when it just kept malfunctioning. But I think just proving to our community member that we could do it, and just like she motivated us, like wanting to do this for her, and just proving to ourselves that we could do it was really important to us.
Thank you for sharing that. Let's hear from Project Pick Me Up.
So a significant challenge that we faced was finding the right soft magnet and the right size of a soft magnet to use for our device. So we had to frequently test different magnets to see if it would work with the electromagnet like circuit that we had. And for challenges and how we remained motivated, I think the thought and the idea of being able to change someone's life and being able to help Craig's guitar playing was enough to just like have a set goal towards the end and a purpose to just keep in mind through all of the challenges and hardships that we faced.
Great, thank you. Can we hear from Team Pals for Pals?
Yes, so we had a few different challenges that we faced. One of our original challenges was to find a product that was feasible for our team to actually design and create. And then after that, we sort of moved on, and another challenge we had was just troubleshooting and making sure our devices, our outputs matched with what we wanted. But in those times, really what kept us motivated was trying to find and create a product that really helped the ALS community, and we all just put our heads down and worked together.
Great, thank you. Can we hear from Team Native? Oh, great, I'll read this. I've got it in the chat. This is a representative from Team Native. A challenge we faced was trying to come up with a product for pollinators in a garden. We stayed resilient by keeping brainstorming and connecting with and asking questions of our community partner until we came up with an idea that would help solve our problem. Awesome, thank you. Oh, and bringing it back, also have one from Team Vortex. Let's see, the most challenging part was trying to find a way to put misplaced plates in the correct position to fit in the dishwasher. All right, can we hear from Team Toady?
Yeah, really kind of the biggest challenge that we had was just fixing all the unexpected problems that we got throughout the project. And so an example of this was near the end of the project, we wanted to have our finder point in the correct direction. And what we found is not only do we need to take the device's position and take like the phone's position, but we also needed to understand what the rotation of the phone is. And really it took like more steps than we originally thought it would to get it to just point straight towards the device. But being able to kind of communicate and work together and collaborate with us four really made it a lot easier, and it kind of eased the whole issue and made really just dealing with these problems a breeze and made it more fun.
Excellent, awesome, thank you. And last but certainly not least, can we hear from Guardians of the Library?
Yeah, so one of the problems we kind of like ran into was basically how to execute the entire thing, like the structure and the woodworking, and kind of coming up with an idea that was feasible with our budget and our like limit.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, thank you to all your teams for sharing that on the spot. Really love that insight. Well, this brings us very close. Here's the home stretch, everybody. Our panelists are back and have made their decisions. So it is time for awards. Let's hear a little bit about our 4 awards before we, messed up a little bit of my screen sharing. There we go. Let's hear a little bit about these 4 awards. Up first, the Need Finder Award is given to a team that really listened to their community partner. The Product Pivot Award, which is presented to a team that had to overcome many obstacles. The Moonshot Award, given to a team who identified and created a notably creative product. And last but not least, the Explorer Award, presented to a team that demonstrated a great amount of learning. All right. With that in mind, let's welcome back. Sorry. Before we start the awards though, let me give a quick award to our student teams. What you have done today and in the many months of hard work and innovation leading up to today is nothing short of incredible. You've built something that few people ever will. You've built something designed to help real people in the real world, and you've done it as a high school student. That's unreal. You've learned the skills to become the fearless problem solvers of tomorrow. So if you receive an award today, that is obviously very exciting. But if you don't receive an award, it is far from the end of your journey. With that in mind, let's welcome back our panelists. Panelists, I'm going to turn it over to you to present our 4 awards. When you present, please share the type of award and its description, as well as the awarded team's name. Let me stop screen sharing.
All right, well, we'll start with the Explorer Award. And this award is for prioritizing learning, and we just really were struck by the amount of learning that was, just exuded from the pitch in the Q&A session. And we want to give this award to Team Care for the Care Band. So congrats to you folks and great job. Really, really impressive stuff.
Okay, the next award is the Need Finder Award. And this award is for the team that came up with a solution, a product to solve a need. And we both thought best that this award goes to Spurgle.
All right.
Teams, you can feel free to unmute and, say thanks or, anything you want to. It's your moment.
Thank you. Hey. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated.
Yep.
Awesome. Totally. All right, stepping right along. The next one is the Product Pivot Award. It's for teams that overcame a lot of obstacles and iterated on their product. And we felt like Team Amphibious with the frog light was the one that exhibited it the most. So congrats, folks. Really, again, super impressive stuff.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And finally, the Moonshot Award goes to the team that we thought produced a product that really went the distance. And collaboratively, we thought that should go to Team Native. Congratulations, guys.
Congrats, everybody. Again, everything was awesome. Presentations, pitches, everything, Q&A. Was great.
Everyone did a great job. It's very difficult to choose these.
Extremely.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. That concludes our demo day. Congratulations. Congratulations to Team Care, Team Spurgle, Amphibious Inc., Native, and all of our amazing teams today. And a huge, huge thanks to our panelists and Sequoia Capital, as well as our keynote speaker, our audience, and our donors, and everyone who helped these teams along their journey, from teachers to mentors to family. You can continue to donate to Project Invent to enable us to continue this mission of empowering young people to innovate all year round. I hope that you have a great rest of your week. If you're able to tune into another exciting Demo Day X coming up, with a few more lined up. And yeah, have a great rest of your week. And just thank you all. Congratulations to all of our students.
Thank you from Project Invent too. We love our students. You guys have done an amazing job. When I was popping into the judges room earlier, they themselves, like they said, it was like such a perplexing decisions to make. You guys did such an excellent job pitching and solving for so many challenging needs and partnering with your community partners to create social impact. So way to go. Thank you, Sequoia Capital. We greatly appreciate you for sponsoring today. And students, if you guys want to unmute, we can all say goodbye and we'll head on out.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.